Hey, Shalom Markin, this is Rikard Makapash from GMS London, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bashem Chachvadash. I want to give double honors unto the elders, the apostles of GMS, and Shalom out there to the hopeful elect, pushing his truth in all sincerity. Back here in another video, and I'm going to entitle this one Ultimate Cope, right? And this is based off, video that was circulating among brothers, elders and apostles, and, brothers who are out there doing videos on, concerning, the snake vocab and, and Crazy Jake, crazy, love struck, what's that term, man? Stockholm Syndrome Jake, that's still out here trying to save Esau in 2026, right? Trying to get him out, trying to get him out from the judgment that he's about to face personally, right? Specifically, right? Because these Negroes don't want to deal with specific judgment when it comes to Esau, right? They want him to have mercy, right? And so obviously, brothers always seen the video when that, I'm a bit late on the on the response, but you got Negroes that are still trying to bat for Esau, right? So they breaking down was it Second Esdras? Let me grab it. Second Esdras chapter 6, verse 9, right? And I'm gonna read it from verse 7 here, right? It says, then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? Right? The new beginning that he's speaking about here, right, is the kingdom of heaven, right? The era of righteousness, right? As in contrast to, the era we live in currently, and have been living in, is, an era of darkness and of wickedness, okay, under the rulership of the heathen. And just, sin in general, right? Because, we didn't do right either. All right, but this age is currently under wickedness. All right, and the world to come, the new beginning, right, the era to come is the kingdom of heaven. Okay, where dwelleth righteousness. That's what we're waiting for, right? Beginning with Yahweh Shai. Okay, and the Israelites, right? Being made perfect and ruling in the earth over the heathen, over the nations. All right. So yeah, it says, when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth, right? And so he's told here, Esdras is told here, right? Verse 8, and he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, right? When Jacob and Esau, right? So there's a great focal point between Jacob and Esau in the scriptures, right? They both represent something, okay? Jacob, as it's going to say, represents that, represents a new beginning, okay? And Esau represents the end of this current world, the end of this era of wickedness, right? And so henceforth, Esau is ruling, okay, in this current world at the end, right? That's why he's not extinct. Okay, he wasn't done away with. He wasn't, like he went into hiding. He changed his identity, doing all kinds of, fraudulent activities, right, to try and escape from, the eyes of men, right? Because this is why no one knows who the fuck Esau is except for the prophets, right? Because he's changed his name. He's assimilated himself in different, in different nations, taken their land, changed the names, and fed everybody bullshit propaganda about themselves, right? So no one knows who Esau is. So apparently he's been done away with according to vocab. So anytime anyone talks about, Edomites, Esau in a view that they're not around anymore, he'll thumb that up, right? Because he would like to believe that, right? But this Jake that was talking to, this camp, right? they were taking on a different take. So as long as Esau is not directly in the line of punishment, vocab's going to back it, even if he doesn't even believe in the scripture, because he doesn't even believe in the apocrypha and the apocryphal scripts, right? But as long as Esau is taken out the firing line, he's all right. He'll back it. You hear him in the video. Yeah, that's right. What the brother's saying is right. Whatever he says, And that's just hypocrisy at the end of the day, because he's a devil. So, that's what devils do, right? Because he's an Edomite, right? So that's what they're going to do, all right? But obviously, the Jake that was talking is, he's talking about context. He obviously don't understand context, right? In the context, my brother, right? He obviously don't understand context, right? So we have to, bring the understanding to you, right? So let me read it again, right? Verse 8, and he said unto me, from Abraham and unto Isaac, and when Jacob and Esau were born of him. Okay, this is a focal point in the prophecy and the timeline of things, right? Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. Why is this significant? Why is Esau and Jacob significant? The other nations are not really significant like that, right? We've got the main good guy who's Jacob. You've got the main bad guy that's Esau. The main forces of good and evil in the world, right? And the heathen are just there, doing what heathens do, right? And they go off because they got they're worshiping idols, but they're not big players. Everyone's got their part to play, but they're not big players. Esau is a big player in these prophecies, and so too is Jacob, right? Verse 9. So for Esau is the end of the world. Esau represents the end of the world. It's not, the enemies of Israel, because that Jake was trying to, it's not talking about Esau specifically. It's symbolic, basically. He's basically saying that this term here, Esau, when we're talking about the actual people, Jacob and Esau here, okay, and their descendants, right? Now that's changed from, it's symbolic to the enemies of Israel. Where the fuck did that happen? Where does it say that? It don't. Right here, but the context, my brother, bro, you don't understand. You obviously don't know the context, so you should be quiet. For Esau is the end of the world, right? Esau is here ruling at the end of this era of wickedness. Okay, before the coming of our Lord Yahushua to establish His kingdom of righteousness. Okay, under the kingdom, under the kingdom of the Israelites, right? That's the kingdom of heaven here upon earth. Okay, that's the new beginning that we're waiting for. But Esau is here running this, the wicked, the world prior to that. Right, he is the big shot in this world because at the end of the day, his blessing is being fulfilled in this last time, in his end days. Okay, his prophecy, his blessings are being fulfilled, right? Which we're going to get into that, right? So, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Right? So is Jacob, are you going to say Jacob is a general term for anybody that believes in the Most High, on that Christian shit? Vocab would like to think so. But, Vocab, he doesn't understand either. So, we know this is not what he's talking about. All right? But before I get into the rest of that, let me just grab this, right? Because, let's say it's 2026 and Jake's still trying to give Esau a hand. Trying to help him out. You know what I mean? Trying to get him on the chariot. It's like, fuck off, man. Like, you and Esau can burn together in America. Or whatever judgment the Lord's got of you, wherever part of the earth you're in. Okay, you can go with Esau. All right? This is Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 33. It says, why trimmest thou thy way to seek love? Like, to get the approval of Esau. To be liked by Esau. And then, vocab rooting you on. Fuck off, vocab. Right? Because you want to feel validated by these Edomites. Fuck you, Edomites. Right? We don't need your approval. We don't need your acceptance. You don't need to get along with you. We don't need shit from you, man. All we need is the judgment upon you. That's it. That's what's gonna make us happy. Right? When the judgment comes. All right, we ain't trying to help you, right? Because you can't be helped anyway. You're the devil. And the Most High have rejected you. Right? So we've got nothing to talk about here other than your destruction. And your captivity. That's it. That's all we got to tell you. Your downfall. That's it. Nothing else to discuss. Right? But like I said, you still got Jake out here trying to fanboy Esau, man. It's damn fucking shame. Right? So why trimmest thou thy way to seek love? Therefore hast thou also taught the wicked ones thy ways. Right? I say you're trying to appease Esau. Okay, we're not here to appease Esau. All right. But getting back onto the subject matter, right? I'm gonna grab this from Genesis chapter 3, right? So the end of the world represents Esau because he is here ruling at the end of the world, right? And the beginning of it is Jacob, right? Jacob and Esau is a focal point around all these prophecies, ultimately in the latter days, right? Why is this? Right? And it goes all the way back. goes all the way back, right? And so I'm here in Genesis chapter 3 right now. So I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'll just get the point here, right? All know this story already, right? And he tells the woman and the serpent, basically, I will put enmity between thee and the woman, the serpent and the woman, right? The serpent was not a snake. Okay, serpent was a man, right? And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed, right? Thy seed represents the seed of the wicked, okay, the serpent seed, right? And her seed represents the righteous seed, i.e., ultimately the children of Israel, who the Lord chose. This is who it represents, right? And it shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel, right? So we got the whole vision, not the vision, but what's the word I want to use, man? I want to use the word vision, like, but basically you get the idea. You know, it's told us about the heel, the heel of Esau and Jacob and his hand on his heel, right? There's a word for it, man. I can't fucking think of it, but you know, we get that that kind of, you know, the idea from, you know, their birth. Right? It happens later, right? So the Lord said He was going to put enmity between the woman and the seed, right? The serpent seed and the woman's seed, okay, i.e., the seed of the wicked and the seed of the righteous, right? And this, like I said, this manifests, okay, in the form of Jacob and Esau, right? Genesis 25, verse 24, and when her days were to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb, right? Now, actually, I need to read up. So let me get from verse 21, right? It says, and Isaac entreated of the Lord Yahweh for his wife because she was barren, and the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. And the children struggled together within her, right? Here's the enmity, you know. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And when she went to inquire of the Lord Yahweh, and Yahweh said unto her, two nations are in thy womb, right? Two manner of people, i.e., the wicked and the righteous, ultimately, right? Two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one shall be the stronger, the righteous, and the other people, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, right? The righteous, and the elder shall serve the younger, right? Esau is the elder, okay, the wicked, right? Oh, in the end, the righteous is going to overthrow Esau. Okay, there's enmity between seeds. Jacob's going to win, which we already read back in Second Ezra, right? And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb, and the first came out red. Okay, and this is being Esau or Edom. Edom, you know, the word Edom means red, right? So Esau, the children of Esau, the Edomites, are red people. That's why they look the way they look, right? And that's why it's connected with certain prophecies concerning the scarlet colored beast, the red horse, these different types of things. Is really an indicator to Esau, right? Which I'm going to talk about that in a bit, right? So, and the first came out red and all over. Sorry, the first came out red and all over and like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that, his brother came out. Well, that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, right? And his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them, right? So this is what Second Ezra chapter 6 verse 9 is referencing to, right? This event. Pardon me. Right? But it was said that the elder shall serve the younger, right? So we know that's ultimately Esau's position, to be the underling, the peon, the servant, right? And he doesn't want to be that. Okay, that's why he behaves the way he does, because he thinks that if he rebels hard enough and acquires all this, you know, dark knowledge and technology, that he can somehow prevent, you know, the prophecy from, you know, coming true, taking place, manifesting, basically, right? That's what he's out here doing or trying to do, right, with his witchcraft and shit. All right. So this is what's playing out, right? And this is why Esau at the end of the world is important, because this is all playing out. Right? You don't understand the context. You don't understand the prophecies. You know, my brother. You know what I mean? You don't understand. And so Vocab's going to back anything that, you know, that unimplicates Esau from any type of direct judgment. He's gonna back that, right? And he's gonna use Jake to convince try and convince you other Israelites out there, the other Jake out there, that Esau's not gonna be destroyed and blah 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 blah, right? Which is bullshit, right? And this is another aspect of it, right? The Jake, right? He was trying to say, oh, it's symbolic of all the enemies of Israel, right? Okay, but Esau, Edom, is still an enemy of Israel. So I don't understand what kind of defense this is, right? When they're still implicated, right? And Esau is at the top of the list of our enemies, right? And Esau is going to get it worse. You can read it like Obadiah. It tells you Esau is going to get it the worst, bro. Like, it's like, what are you even saying? It's not even a good defense. What you're doing, right? So yeah, this is Psalms 83 verse 2. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head, right? Those that hate Israel, okay, they're our enemies, sure. All the heathens are our enemies, but who's the head enemy? Who's the one currently oppressing us? Whose system do we currently live in? Esau's, right? Who is the end of the world? Who the Most High is going to make an example out of? So we know Esau's going down the next way, right? Greater than any nation ever fell before. The Most High hates Edomites, man, and that can't be changed, no matter what you say, right? Verse 3 says, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation. And that's what you've done. That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, right? Esau pulling the strings. He's running the show, right? But they're all in agreement with him, in accordance, right? I say the first on the list, verse 6, the tabernacles of Edom. And then he just so happens to be the one ruling in this current day and age, right? Because that's prophecy, right? He's meant to be ruling, right? And so he's the one pulling the strings. He's the one that's got these nations really working against the interests of the Israelites, right? And and that's why they're the bottom of society wherever they are, being oppressed, being made mockery of, okay, looked down upon. Esau's responsible for that, right? So tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarenes, Gebal and Ammon and Amalek, and that's the chief tribe of Edom, right? These are the ones. These are the fake artists, man, the fraudsters that are going around the world, claiming to be us, right? The Philistines with the tyrants of Tyre, Ashur also is joined with them. They have hope on the children of Lot Salah, right? And so all these nations, right? They're all implicated, right? And that's why the Lord's got beef with all of them, right? That's why the Lord's got judgment against all of them, right? So regardless of whether it's symbolic of the enemies, well, Esau's still an enemy, and Esau's still gonna get fucked up. So it's a weak, it's weak, isn't it? It's just a weak argument. It's just a weak argument, man. Well, however you slice it, all right, it's a weak argument, right? But let's establish something, right? In Malachi chapter 1 verse 3. That's something too, right? So I have loved you, saith the Lord Yahweh, yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord Yahweh? Yet I love Jacob, right? The Most High don't love you, Edomites, man. Right? So there's no point trying to defend them because the Most High don't like them anyway, right? It says, I hated Esau, right? The Lord specifically says he hates them. Specifically says, right? And I hated Esau and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord have indignation forever. So the Lord's never going to be on your side, ever. Right? He has this hatred towards you, man, that's not going to die out. Right? It's not going to change. All right, I know you Edomites hoping that you can get mercy, but we all know that Esau can't get mercy, man. Okay, though he saw it carefully with tears, it can't be done, right? So everyone's wasting their breath, you simple as Jake out there, right? The Most High has indignation against them forever, right? But the Lord said they will build, right? So the Lord gave them up, gave them breathing space, allowed them to build and develop and have a kingdom, have a have a system in place that they're running things in this place, right? The Lord allowed all that, but ultimately, what was going to happen? The Lord was going to destroy it, right? And this is the time that we're in now. We're about to see Esau's destruction. We're about to see his kingdom be destroyed, right? Where I want to read this from. I could read this whole chapter, man. It's damning, but I'm gonna jump through this a bit, I guess, right? So starting from verse 2, right? Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it, right? We prophesy against Mount Seir too, right? We've been set up to do the same thing. And say unto it, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, the Most High, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate, right? Now, Mount Seir represents like the head place of Esau, like, a major city, major hub of Esau, right? And today that is America. Okay, that is where Esau rules his current kingdom from America. Okay, America is that place, right? That great city on the earth, i.e. Babylon the Great, okay, which is all tied to the end kingdom, the end rulership. Esau is the end of the world, and the end kingdom is Babylon the Great. Okay, Babylon the Great is America. America is currently ruling in the earth right now at the end. So they're all linked together. They can't be detached. They're not separate things. Right? Esau is the ruler of this world. America rules over the nations. Okay, which is supposed to be Babylon the Great. So therefore, America is Babylon the Great. Right? And the Most High is about to destroy Babylon the Great. No? Sure. Right? So again, say unto it, thus said Lord Yahweh, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee. I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. You can read on it because of the hatred they got towards us, right? You read all of that, right? I want to get this. So, touching on the enmity again, right? Verse 11 says, therefore, as I live, saith the Lord Yahweh, I will even do according to thine anger and according to thine envy, which thou hast used out of thy hatred against them, the enmity, right? And I will make myself known among them when I have judged thee. Right? Thou shalt know that I am the Lord Yahweh, and that I have heard all thy blasphemies which thou hast spoken against the mountains of Israel, saying, they are laid desolate, they are given us to consume. Right? So right now, we are given into the hands of Esau, right? Which is part of the of Esau's blessing, right? Because it's told to him that even though you're not going to get the primary blessing, okay, you're going to have a moment over your brother Jacob, right? This is the time we're living in. That his moment is here at this moment in time, right? Where he has one over us, right? But what's the ultimate blessing? The primary blessing is that you're going to serve your younger brother. Nothing can change that. It's always going to end that way, right? This is I'm just jumping to verse 15, right? And as thou did rejoice at the inheritance of the house of Israel because it was desolate, so will I do unto thee. Thou shalt be desolate, O Mount Seir, and all Idumea, all the Edomites, right? Even all of it, and they shall know that I am the Lord, right? So the Most High has got it out for these Edomites. So like I said, it's a waste of time, waste of breath to try and defend them and try and save them or whatever, right? Because they can't be saved, right? And so there's no point in defending them. They're the wicked, okay? But the Most High said he's going to destroy all of them and destroy, specifically America, all right? So this is the prophecy in Daniel chapter 2, okay, where it speaks about the kingdoms of the world, right? Beginning with the head of gold, which was old Babylon, ancient Babylon, right? And then we had the Persians, the Medes, and we had the Greeks, and you had Rome, okay, which is the fourth part, the part of iron, right? But the fourth part has an extended part to it, okay, when it gets down to the feet, right? And this is where we are in terms of this prophecy. We're at the feet of this iron kingdom, which is partly mixed with clay, the toes, right? This is where we are. But even like Rome was the empire of the Edomites. Okay, so too was the Greeks. right? But Rome represents this iron, right? And this iron has continued into this new system that Esau has control over, right? This is Rome all over again, the second leg, right? But it's not the same as it once was. It's not quite the same, right? But Esau is here ruling it. Okay, again, Esau is the end of the world, right? So all these things are synonymous with each other, right? That these these legs of iron, or these toes of iron and miry clay, right? Babylon the Great, and Esau ruling at the end of the world. These are all synonymous. These are all talking about. It's all the same thing, right? So here it says in verse 40, and the fourth kingdom shall be as strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces, as subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these shall it break in pieces and bruise, right? This is speaking about the Roman Empire, right? But like I said, it continues on into the feet, okay, which represents this current time. Okay, Rome has been continued or revived, right, from the Renaissance period. Okay, the rebirth. That's what Renaissance means. Rebirth. Rebirth of what? Of Edomite supremacy, of Edomite rulership, Edomite ideologies. Okay, i.e. Rome, right? Because that's what we're living in, right? It's another version of Rome, right? Verse 41 says, and whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, okay, which is the current state of affairs right now. Esau's kingdom is divided. That's how we know we're at the end, because this place is about to implode, right? Everything's going to shit, right? Which is, part of the elite's plan, but ultimately it's the Most High's plan, because this is not going to end the way the elites think it's going to end or how they want it to end, right? But it is happening, right? It says, they shall mingle themselves with the seed. Sorry, whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom, right? So again, Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth, right? So we know after this kingdom of iron and clay, right, is going to be established Yahweh Shai's kingdom, right? So Esau is this iron and clay, and is the iron, and is the bronze as well. But specifically, we look at the end, right? So Esau is this iron and clay. He's the one ruling in this world. He is Babylon the Great, right? Because America is that chief nation. So specifically, America is Babylon the Great, right? So it says, and in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. Okay, the kingdom of Israel, kingdom of heaven, right? And the kingdom shall not be left to other people, other nations. No, it's going to belong to the Israelites, whom the Lord have chosen, right? But it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever, right? And that's why the blessing of Jacob is basically to be the ruling class upon the earth, to be royalty upon the earth, to rule over the nations. That's what the blessing is, right? So this is what this is saying, right? It says, for as much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it break in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, and the silver, and the gold, the great God have made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter, and the dream is certain, and the interpretation is short, right? So that's the end of Esau and the beginning of Jacob, right? It's not some general term. Oh yeah, Esau just represents the heathen, the enemies. No, it represents the Esau and his kingdom, Esau and his rulership. That's what it represents, because that's what's going on right now. He's in charge. He's in rulership right now. He needs to be taken out. Right? Yeah, the other heathens are enemies too. But who's the biggest threat? Esau. These heathens ain't doing shit. You know what I mean? Esau's in charge out here, man. His kingdom. Right? Revelation chapter 17, verse 5. Let's get this point right. And upon her head was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great. Actually, let me get the first verse here, right? It says, and there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Okay, this is America. Okay, that great whore that rideth on top of the beast. Right, it's handler. Right, and you can see that because you see that more than ever. Right, America, or Trump especially, right, how he's been treating NATO allies, European allies, bro. Like, they're nothing. They're just something to be, directed. You do this, you go do that. The whore has disdain for the beast, right? And the beast, because of that, having a disdain for the whore, right? Which is America, right? And so they've been reluctant to open this whole Iran situation or whatever because they're trying to have a backbone, right? Because Trump's just being outrageous. He's being outrageous, bare disrespectful. So they're trying to have a backbone. Europe's trying to have a backbone, but Europe ain't got no backbone. They truly do need America, right, to really operate on any particular any type of level, right? But they're trying to be, look like they got a backbone. All right, but it's going to end in the relationship's going to end messy. All right, it's going to end messy, man. All right. Anyway, it says, "Come hither, I will shew unto the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters." Right. And jump to verse 4. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color. Right. Again, scarlet color, but this represents royalty, wealth, status. Right. America's the head nation, the king nation on the earth. Right. So she's decked out, isn't it? America's decked out. Right. Has all the world's her wealth coming to her. Right. She's decked with gold, decked out, right? And precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness and of a fornication. And that's why America is a filthy place, man. Right? It's all got all kind of wickedness and witchcraft going on there, sacrifices and adultery, everything. It's just a cesspit, basically. Right? That's what ultimately America is. Even though it tries to portray itself as some light in the world, it's a cesspit. Right? It's full of wickedness. But that's Esau's kingdom. That's what it is. Wherever he's at is the border of wickedness. Verse 5 says, "Upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great." Right? The mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Right? So the same kingdom of iron and clay is Babylon the Great, ultimately, the kingdom of Esau. Beginning with America. Right? Esau is in charge of this kingdom. So it's not symbolic. It is literal. Like Esau's descendants, Esau and his descendants are ruling the earth, and he's going to be taken out of the way. Right? So you see the context. You got to link it up with the other prophecies, man. You just made up some mumbo jumbo to appease Esau. Some mumbo jumbo, man. Some BS. Adding to the scriptures, man, and taken away. All right. Let me jump down to I'm just going to get the point of verse 18. "The woman which thou sawest is that great city," i.e. America, right, "which reigneth over the kings of the earth." Right, and that shit's clear. America calls the shots out here, man. Not for long, but that's how it is right now. They call the shots. It's Revelation chapter 18, verse 2. "And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird." Right? It's about to be destroyed, right? It says, "For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication." Okay, those that were in league with her. Okay, that adopted her ways. Right? Which is damn near the whole earth, pretty much. Right? And that's what they're all implicated. And so, yeah, they're going to get their judgment too. Right? "And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundances of her delicacies." right? So I heard another voice saying from heaven saying, "Come out from my people, that ye be not partakers of the sins that ye receive not of her plagues," right? So the elect are going to be taken out of the way before the Lord destroys, the Most High sends the missiles to destroy America, man, right? They're going to be beamed up into the chariots, man, to avoid that destruction, right? And I heard another voice from heaven saying, "Come out of my people, that you not be partakers of the sins that you have received not of her plagues, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and God have remembered her iniquities." All right, so going back to Malachi, God said, like, yeah, they will build. Yeah, you even going to become great, the greatest empire the world has ever seen. And all this military equipment and technology that you got, nuclear weapons, you could destroy nations and with a bomb. You know what I mean? They got all this technology, but the Most High is still gonna throw you down, man. The Most High is still gonna put an end to you. That hasn't changed. Just because you got some missiles and shit, that don't change. Most High is still gonna take you out. Right? It says, "For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God have remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you." Again, that enmity, because you have this enmity against us, this hatred against us, man. You've dealt with us a wicked way, man, appallingly, like atrocious. You know what I mean? You are the true savage on the earth, man. You are some next level of fucking beast, right? But right, the most remembered your iniquities, right? So it says, "Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works." What did she do? Right? And the history is there. And that's just the tip of the iceberg of what we know, right? But it's atrocious. The things you did unto us as a people, right, in slavery and all of that, man, is atrocious. Irredeemable. Right? And I'm also going to make that clear. Right? "Give unto her double according to her works, in the cup which she have filled to her double. For much she have glorified herself." Yeah, America, the greatest nation in the world. Greatest everything. Greatest in wickedness is what you really are, right? So, and live deliciously, right, on top, right? "So much torment and sorrow give her, for she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, I am no widow, and shall see no sorrow." That's the attitude of the American people, right? "Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Lord God who judgeth her. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her, for they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come." And this is the time we're living in. Okay, Yahushua is about to come and establish his kingdom, right? So therefore, this means the downfall of Babylon the Great, i.e., the kingdom of iron and clay, i.e., Esau's kingdom, right? Esau is the end of the world, right? Has to be destroyed, right? That's what it is, right? And like I said, the Most High specifically got it out for Esau. It's his kingdom after all, and the Most High hates him. You know? Just a couple more, right? So this is Isaiah 63, verse 1. It says, "Who is this that cometh from Edom, right, with dyed garments from Bozrah? This that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save." Right? This is talking about Yahushua when he comes. "So wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine fat? I have trodden in the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me." Okay, in Bozrah, Edom, i.e. America, right? "For I will tread them in mine anger, and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment." Right? I don't know Edomites coming on no chariot, bro. you know? "For the day of vengeance is in my heart," right? Because Yahushua is coming to settle a score with the Edomites, right? And yet, not just the Edomites, obviously the rest of the heathen too. The Lord's coming to settle a score, right? But you Edomites, again, like Psalms 83, you're on the top of the fucking list. Because this is your kingdom. You're the chief oppressor on the planet. You're the chief oppressor of the Israelites. The Lord has to take us from your grip. Okay, we bear your chains, right? And Yahweh shall come to deliver us out from you, right? It says, For the day of vengeance is in my heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. Okay, the elect of Israel. And I looked, and there was none to help, and I wondered that there was none to uphold. Therefore my own arm brought salvation unto me, and my fury it upheld me. And I will tread down the people in my anger, and make them drunk in my fury, and I will bring down their strength to the earth. Right, and that's what Yahushua is coming with the angels, right? Upon those white horses in the book of Revelation, he had many crowns upon his head. This is what he's talking about. Okay, but it's starting with Esau, right? He said, I will mention the loving kindness of the Lord and the praises of the Lord according to all that the Lord hath bestowed on us, and the great goodness toward the house of Israel. His mercy is only upon the house of Israel. Okay, and really only the elect, right, on this side of things. Right? There's no mercy for the other nations, especially not Esau, right? It says, the great goodness toward the house of Israel, which he hath bestowed on them according to his mercies, right? According to the promises, and according to the multitude of his loving kindness. For he said, surely they are my people. The Israelites are the Most High's people, nobody else, right? Children that will not lie, so he was their savior. He's not the savior of the world, of all peoples. That was never the case, right? And especially not Esau. Especially not Esau, right? That's what I wanted from that, really. Right, so yeah, last one here in Jeremiah 49, right? And I might jump through a little bit of this, right? So starting in verse 13 here, though, it says, for I have sworn by myself, saith the Lord Yahweh, that Bozrah, again, really talking about America in these last days, right, shall become a desolation, a reproach, a waste, and a curse. All the cities thereof shall be perpetual waste, right? This is the judgment of Babylon the Great, no? Because it's the same judgment. Okay, only this didn't happen to ancient Bozrah. This is going to happen in this new era, these last days that we're living in, to America, because this is what it represents, right? I have heard a rumor from the Lord Yahweh, and an ambassador is sent unto the heathen, saying, gather ye together and come against her and rise up to the battle. For lo, I make thee small among the heathen and despise them among men. America is not well liked because of the things they're doing. Them and Israel, the Amalekites, right? They made it small and despised among men. So thy terribleness have deceived thee, and the pride of thy heart, O thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, that holdest the height of the hill, though thou shouldest make thy nest as high as the eagle, I will bring thee down from thence, saith the Lord. Right? So again, back to Malachi, though thou build, I will throw down. They've been allowed to build and create a nest in the heavens and all kinds of things like that. Right? The Most High is still gonna jack them up and bring them down to the ground. Right? They just got further to fall. Right? So it's gonna hurt more. Right? Also, Edom shall be a desolation. Yeah, the kingdom of Esau is going to be a desolation because there's no kingdom of Edom right now. There's nothing going on in Edom, in the land of Edom, in Idumea, Mount Seir. There's nothing going on. Just tourism. That is it. There's no government. There's nothing really going on there. Right? No, America, Esau, moved himself into the land of America to control the world from America. Right? That's what's happened, right? And so this is what it represents, because Esau is all up in America, right? So also Edom shall be a desolation. Everyone that goeth by it shall be astonished and shall hiss at all the plagues thereof, right? Because America, Babylon the Great, is going to be destroyed with thermonuclear fire. Okay, an uninhabitable landmass, right? That's what it's going to become. As in the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighbor cities thereof, saith the Lord Jehovah, no man shall abide there, neither shall a son of man dwell in it. Behold, he shall come up like a lion from the swelling of Jordan against the habitation of the strong. But I will suddenly make him run away from her. And who is the chosen man that I may appoint over her? For who is like me, and who will appoint me the time? And who is that shepherd that will stand before me? Therefore hear the counsel of the Lord Jehovah that he hath taken against Edom, and his purposes that he hath proposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them, right? And that's what we're seeing right now with the small hats. Right? They're causing all kind of ruckus in the earth, man, doing all kind of atrocities and, making the global community sick of you, or tired of you, man, and outraged by the things that you're doing, right? But, good old America is always going to be there to back Israel no matter what the fuck's going on, because they're all hypocrites. right? And so you're gonna, these men are creating this this atmosphere for war, which again is all part of prophecy, right? Bringing together everyone together for World War III against America, Israel and their allies, right? I want to jump down a bit now. Where's I want to get from? Oh, that was it actually. Okay. All right. So yeah. So like I said, evidently Esau is here. Evidently he is the ruler of this world. Right. Evidently the Messiah is going to jack him up. Right. Take his kingdom from him. And you read Obadiah, you know what's gonna happen to the Edomites. Yeah. No one likes to talk about that one. The book of Obadiah. What's gonna happen to the Edomites? No one's like, how can you destroy? Well, that's already happened apparently. If you ask vocab, right? But there's no there's no evidence for that. And like I said, we're talking about Esau here in the last days. So how could they have been destroyed? So it's dumb, right? But like I said, you read the book of Obadiah, you know what's going to happen. What's going to happen to the Edomites? So therefore they're here, because you can't destroy someone that's not here, right? And that's because the Most High hates Esau, right? He hates Esau because he made him to be hated, right? And he's done grievous crimes upon the earth and to his children. So he's gonna get some mega judgment upon him, an uber judgment upon him that no one's ever faced before, right? I.e., fulfilling the curse of Cain, right? Whose judgment was greater than he could bear, right? Because he got off like Cain got off lightly, man. Nothing happened to him. He got cast out, and that was about it, right? How is that more than he could bear? He got cast out of the garden. Bro, he did fine. He had children, created cities and whatever. He did all of that, right? He didn't pay for his crimes yet, right? Spiritually, right? Cain is back as these Edomites. The spirit of Cain is within these Edomites, man, and that's why they're basically fugitives. They don't want to receive judgment, right? And that's why vocab and these whack ass Christians, man, they're always fucking trying to find a way out of their judgment, running and ducking and just trying to get out of it, trying to wiggle the way out of all the wickedness that they've done. And that's why vocab, he'll back anybody that's trying to sell a message that Esau's not to blame for nothing, or he's not going to receive no judgment, or they're not here, or whatever the fuck, man. Yeah, they're always going to back these stupid ass these stupid ass corny doctrines that they got going around, because Esau don't want to face no judgment, because these Edomites are Cain in a reincarnation, man. They're fugitives. Fugitive doesn't own up. He doesn't want to fess up. He's on a run. He ain't trying to turn himself in or acknowledge, accept it or acknowledge he's wrong. He ain't trying to do all of that. So of course they are the way they are. But the Most High is going to hold him accountable, man. We're going to keep prophesying and saying it as it is, man, in the scriptures. Esau hasn't got a hope in hell or surviving or getting away with anything, right? Most High ain't coming to save him, right? I don't care how you word it, right? Esau is here. He's here right now, fucking up everything, destroying the earth, importing wickedness everywhere. That's what Esau's job was to do, and he's here doing that at the end of the world. And the Most High is going to take him out of power and destroy his kingdom. And then, then comes in the kingdom of heaven. Right? That's the story. That's the prophecy, man. Right? And that's the context of it. It's just, it's really just as simple as that. But it's you got JKA still trying to, blow smoke up Esau's arse, man. In 2026. It's crazy, right? But I'm going to end it there. Lord willing, this was edifying. And I'll catch you brothers and sisters on the next video. Until next time, I say shalom.